Hey y'all, I'm Alison Asarch from Nashville, Tennessee.
Hey, I'm Sean Fraser from the Ritzy Kids.
Hunters, this is Johnny from Rail Motor.
Hey, it's Shane from Blind Season.
Hey, it's Rob Stanier, and you can check out my music on all the streaming platforms.
Check out my latest music on all the streaming sites.
Check out my debut album on all streaming platforms.
Check out our new debut album.
Check us out on Spotify and Apple Music. And you're listening to our friends, Braggy and Curly.
And my
Rossy.
favorite bands from Australia.
My two favourite podcasters,
Braggy and Curly.
Braggy and
Rossy.
Curly.
On the
Unfiltered and Undiscovered podcast.
And Rossy.
Hey there, everyone. It's Curly here, and welcome to the Unfiltered and Undiscovered podcast, episode 182. Unbelievably, 182. Hey, we've got a great show lined up for you tonight. But before we introduce our two very special guests, let's introduce the two co-hosts. We've got Rossy from the capital city. As we know, Sydney is the capital music city here in Australia. And of course, we got Braggy up the top, all the way from Adelaide. How are you, boys? How's your week been?
Excellent, Curly. Except for the footy tips, I'm shit. I think the thing we learned on the weekend is that don't listen to me for AFL tips.
Absolutely.
What have you got to say, Rossy?
Well, I don't know what happened there, but all I know is this week, I started off this week, since I saw you last, playing a support to a bunch of middle-aged Japanese women, and now I'm in the middle of a SpongeBob SquarePants musical production.
Really? That's what's going on. So, was the Japanese girls? Was that the 5, 6, 7, 8s? Was that a female band from Japan that you played with?
All girl band from Japan.
I was looking. You didn't have any footage of them on your socials. I was keen to check that out. I suppose I could just check it anyway.
The funny thing is, I mixed them when they came over the first time in 1991.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah.
And they went down well?
It was massive. They sold out a place in Sydney called the Crowbar. I think they sold out like 600 seats, which is pretty good.
Wow. That is good. And the turnbuckles were on fire, I see.
Apparently they were.
Yeah. Apparently.
So Angus told me, because he was doing stage for them.
Is that the reason? Okay. No, it did look a really good night. And I saw on the turnbuckles probably the world's best paragraph ever written about the turnbuckles. Sensational review.
Yeah. Well, how they laughed.
And all they needed was 4 lines to capture the spirit of the band, which is fantastic. Right. So, hey, Braggy, you're going to give us an update now on the footy tipping.
Well, Rossy's out in front with 26 because he's kind of just average. He got 4 out of the 8 NRL games, and then he got 5 out of the 8 AFL games, whereas I got 2, and it's supposed to be my freaking code. So I'm a dickhead. Curly was on fire. I thought you were going to get a clean round, Curly. You got everything but the Knights in the NRL.
Yeah.
So you got 7 out of 8, and then you got 4 out of 8. So in consequence, Rossy's in front with 26. I'm still in second with 23, but you are back up there now after you poor start to 22 points.
Yeah, well, I think your analysis after round 1 was Curly shit at footy tipping, and I had to prove that wrong. So yeah. But then you jinxed it by saying that I was on a perfect ground, and of course, once you said that was
it all went to pear shape.
Well, I'm going to say that every week then.
All right, let's get to our special guest. We are very pleased to say that we've got Tori Darke and Jay Santilli with us. They've been friends for over 15 years, but this is your first collaboration together. Have I got that right?
Correct. And I can't believe it's our first collab as well. It's been long overdue.
Only taken us almost 20 years. It's been a long time coming, and a lot of drinks between friends, but we finally got there.
Well, I think the clip made that quite evident.
I'll have you know a funny fact about that video clip is Jay and I were sculling and shotting apple juice, and I don't think I ever want to drink apple juice ever again.
No, I've not touched apple juice since.
No, me either.
So normally I start off with the first question, and my question usually, well, it always usually is, I just like to know when music first came into your life. Was it through your parents? Did you discover it by yourself? Was it through a sibling? How did it all begin for you girls? Tori, you first.
For me, I grew up with very music lover parents. They were both rock and roll dancers. So from the moment I could talk and dance and move, I was going to dancing competitions and always surrounded by incredible music. So I grew up on, if you guys in Sydney.
So they did the 50s sort of stuff.
Yeah, I grew up listening to 2WS in the car, and I knew every song on the radio. And
nice.
one of the songs that is just such a memory for me was Green Door. Growing up listening.
Shakin' Stevens.
Yeah, listening to Green Door and seeing my parents dance to it. And I always sang in the car. And one day we had another friend in the car that their daughter was a singer. And she just goes, "Do you reckon you should take Tori to singing lessons?" And Mum's like, no, she's just a kid that loves to sing. And that was a while ago now. I was 10 years old or so and went to my first singing lesson, and I haven't stopped since or been able to shut up since.
That's awesome. What about you, Jay?
I grew up listening to music. My parents are very far from musical, but they're very much massive appreciators of music. I guess I got my love for it through them, and we did lots of driving. We lived in Townsville in my younger years, and we did the big hike from Townsville to Melbourne at least once a year. And
Ouch.
My dad had, we had an old troop carrier, so we were all lugged in the back of that. And my dad had like 1 or 2 CDs for the entire trip down, and it was basically just Johnny Cash and just like Journey and all the greats. And
Journey.
I was a 10-year-old who knew all the words to all the Journey and Johnny Cash songs. And I guess when we lived up there, I saw Adam Brand for my first concert, and it kind of, that's where I got my little country taste of things. And it wasn't until I guess my first year of high school where I saw someone in like playing guitar, just purely just guitar, and I thought that was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And I said to Mum, I want to learn guitar, and she's like, "Oh, okay, we'll see." And tried to get into school to learn guitar, and they had no spots available. So the next best thing I could do was the saxophone. And, that was, exactly. It was really cool. And I eventually got in to play guitar in a group lesson, and the teacher said to me, kindly, I guess you could say, it was just, "You're not very good. You can just sing for the class to keep them in time." And so my first song I sang was "Time of Your Life" by Green Day, and it just went from there.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So I guess thank you to the guitar teacher who said I wasn't good.
So you got the old curly as shit at footy tipping.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha.
But like sax is a hard thing to start off. It's hard to get a sound out of that thing.
I was terrible. I mean, you give me a recorder and I can play anything by ear, but you give me a saxophone and I've got no idea.
You're a bit mean-spirited of a teacher to tell you that you're hopeless and to give up.
Yeah. I thought it was a bit brutal.
Yeah.
Look,
It's not how it works.
I think teachers in school those days too, like fast growing up, unless you were really good, like some proteges straight away, they did. I had the same experience. I did start playing the flute, and he told me I was terrible, which I probably was, but I just remember going home and telling my mum, and my mum being protective, just tore shreds off the teacher. And he let me stay in the band, but then I started learning piano instead. But it's everything happens for a reason. You're not good at one thing, but we can't be good at everything. And it's a blessing that we both found our voices, and we can play guitar now, but
we're good at rejection.
Yeah.
Well, you both, if you're singers, of course you are.
Yeah, that's part of the course.
Part of the
isn't it?
gig. Yeah.
That's it. No, I guess you're right. It is like one of those things. And we found our way back to the guitar, I guess. So it's a bit of a blessing in a way.
I guess it's good. It's like it's kind of a good little lesson, that rejection and that put down when you go to play gigs like maybe you play in Bundy and you get the crowd. Sometimes it's not, can you
100%.
Okay, Sam.
Yeah.
So you know how to deal with it.
So I've got to say, when you listen to the collab, which is kind of what, but I just thought it was a very, very polished and very classy sound. Where'd you do it? Who helped you do it? And who played on it?
I'll let you go, Tor.
So we filmed this with the guys in Melbourne, M Squared, Michael Painter and Michael De Laurentiis, and Jay and I both wanted to work with the boys for a long time, but they're so hard to get into, and they're up there with cost and stuff like that we sort of really had to budget for this release, and we're both independent, self-funded artists, so there's always a lot of planning and a lot of hustling, I guess is the word, when it comes to putting releases forward, making sure that you're spending the money in the right places, and that was certainly something that working with the boys was worth every penny. They were so incredible to work with, not only on a producer level but also a songwriting level too. Jay and I wrote this song and we took it to the boys and they tweaked it a little bit and just helped us sort of really refine just moments in that song to make it, I guess, a bit more of that girl anthem that we were really trying to aim for. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Michael De Laurentiis and Michael Painter just absolutely nailed this one, and Jay and I had such a great time writing it. There was no pressure. There was no moment where I think both of us just went, you know what, this sucks, let's pack it in. We went, no, there's something here, like let's just keep writing. And I was down at Jay's for a couple of days spending time with her and her family, and we're just like, look, if we write something, we do. If we don't, we don't, and it was very carefree. We were writing it through Macca's drive-through. We were writing it on the floor of a photo shoot we were doing. We wrote it in Jay's kitchen. Like, it was just that song that kept evolving, and every time we came back to it, we were like, oh, like it just felt like it fitted. So then taking it to the boys to finish off this project was really cool. And they're such talented musicians in their own right. They played all of the instruments. And even Michael Painter did all of the male backing vocals on that as well. Jay and I did a lot, obviously being a collab, but they were just super easy and fun to work with. And it was really cool watching them do their thing, and they just get into this nerdy freak mode of production and musicality that you just go, man, I want to be like them when I grow up.
It's interesting. I like the little at the start. You've got the banjo sound, which is not a banjo sound. I'm sure it's off a keyboard. Yeah. So that was a great little idea, I thought.
They're very, very clever with the way that they just kind of like mimic certain instruments. Yeah. Instead of going to hire out a banjo player, which will cost us about $350 for just that little part in the song. They're just really.
But it works.
How they do it, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sound of that, it's better than the banjo sound. I mean, as in for the song. So yeah, I see what you mean by they're good at their craft.
I think at its base level, it just sounded like you were having fun in the recording. In the final finished product, it sounds like you're having fun. Now, it sounds expensive, but it sounds like you're having fun.
Yeah, it does sound expensive. Lovely little licks in there.
Yeah. I'm glad we did it together.
Absolutely. Otherwise, we'd both be eating 2-minute noodles.
Yeah.
Hey, that's the way today, kids.
Yeah. It is a fun song, and that's captured by the video as well. And I was mentioning to Jay before we got kicked off that I swore once I saw the video that it had to be in Nashville, but it was at Surfers Paradise. So what a cool bar.
Yeah, it was a really cool find. We so badly actually in like the pre-planning for the video, we had our heart set on a different venue in Queensland, and it just the timing and other stuff just didn't really line up for it. And we came across Cowboys through a friend, and it was just when we saw the photos, we were like, oh my God, this is like even better than the other venue that we wanted to do it with. And the venue was so welcoming. They let us stay in the venue for the entire day. We were there from like 9:30 till 6:30 at night. And
oh wow.
We had like full reign of the entire venue. They just let us do our thing, and we had Gilly's line dancing come down as well for the day, and they just created such a really cool vibe, and just all those little moments in the video that you see everybody just having a good time. Like, they weren't aware that they were going to be extras in the video. They just thought they were coming to do a line dance, but we said, oh yeah, this will be really cool. And they were all for it. They were just real down to have a good time, and we're so grateful for all the energy that they brought, because it's exactly what it made it. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And the other question I do have about the video, sorry, Rossy, is the text message exchange at the beginning of the video finishes with "I'll shout." So I want to know who shouted.
It was definitely Tori.
I shouted at everyone that day. It was a very expensive exercise, but we had so much fun, and people giving up their time to be in a video clip, and to all the dancers from Gilly's line dancers just got into it, and they got on board, and they were like, what can we do? Like, what other parts can we be in? And we really appreciate that. It's really hard to find good help. But they were just incredible extras, incredible dancers, and they really helped us bring this video clip to life. I remember seeing the first edit, and I still felt like I was in that moment. I still felt like I was in the bar having fun, and although we were sober as pretending to drink Fireball, drinking apple juice, it honestly, by the end of the day, I think we had sweat that much. We'd felt like we'd been doing squats on the bar, jumping up and down, that we were exhausted. Like, I felt like I had just spent 12 hours drinking in a bar. It was a really cool experience, and it felt like we were just there with a bunch of friends.
I couldn't walk for a week after we did that video.
Yeah. Soon be a bit of jumping and running and hooting and hollering.
Tori's a little bit shorter than me, so the roof wasn't quite touching her head, so I had to bend down on the bar the entire time.
Bartender, keep them coming. It's gonna be a real long night. Double shot of whiskey for me. Top shelf for her's just fine. Tell the band to keep it country, so we can dance in the neon lights. T-R-O-U-B-L-E, that's what you're gonna see tonight. We're gonna have a good time. We'll be dancing on the tabletops. We can't fight the moonlight. You and I, yeah, we're gonna get wild. Ain't leaving till the sun comes up. We're gonna drink everyone dry. Yeah, trouble's always got a way of finding me. Here comes trouble. Here comes trouble.
So I guess it looks like you've had almost 30,000 streams on it just on. So it's like you've got to consider that to be pretty successful for a first collab. Have you got any other stuff in the pipeline just yet?
At the moment, Jay and I are planning some stuff towards the end of the year. We were just together over the weekend, hanging out at CMC, and it was really exciting to watch a bunch of our friends up there. Like both Jay and I are really good friends with Kaylee Bell. She's an incredible New Zealand artist that's basically grown up between here and New Zealand, playing country music, and seeing her do what she does on stage was just incredible. And it was like a good education lesson at the weekend, on the weekend at CMC, just seeing your peers, put on these killer shows and listening to some of their new songs they got coming out. I think it makes you really excited and really hungry for, what you've got planned for the rest of the year. So I definitely think that there'll be another collab down the track for Jay and I. We haven't written it yet, but hopefully it just doesn't take us another 15 years.
Yeah, so have you guys played live together before? How did you meet? And have you played live together? And have you been in trouble? Like the song says.
I'll let you go, Tor.
I actually remember Jay and I first met at the Gympie Muster, and it was very, very brief. I just remember, I think Jay and I might have spoken on Facebook or sort of been friends online first, back when they had MySpace or Facebook or something like that. And I think I my memory is very vague, but I think I had just won the Gympie Muster, and I remember Jay coming up to me and being like, "Hey, like back then Jessica Jade Bruce, and I watched you and you were great, and we should stay, let's stay in touch." And then 6 months later comes, and I had won a scholarship from winning that to the College of Country Music, and Jay was also going to the College of Country Music in Tamworth in January before the festival. And our mums basically had us both at the airport and was like, "You two are going to be best friends. Look after each other and put us on a plane." And off we went.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, there's always a bit of a family vibe around country acts, though, fellas, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
It's one big family, isn't it?
Mum was definitely, I'm not going to say nervous about me going to Tamworth when all by myself. Just turned, I think we just turned 18. And so I'm going away for 2 weeks to go to another state. So she's like, "You will be best friends with Tori Darke and you will stay out of trouble."
Tamworth's fine. It's not like you're in Sydney.
It's all right. Any trouble we got into it together. So it's all good.
No, that's it.
It was all research for this project, obviously.
Yeah, we were just getting some early research in before, we couldn't really dance on tables and drink in bars at our age.
And you both
see that was the story I was hoping for there, Rock.
Yeah,
well
done, Braggy.
Dancing on the bar,
a little bit of trouble. So
you always get those scoops, mate. You always get the scoops.
I mean, we've definitely got some photos.
Unexplained pictures and hangovers and nights that are not remembered that probably need to stay that way.
Oh, well, see, when you make the album, that'll go. Those photos will go in the little pull-out.
Most definitely.
So you're both accomplished singer-songwriters as individuals too, aren't you? So, Tori, when did you get your first piece of music out there in the big wide wander?
It wouldn't have been long after probably meeting Jay. I had done a Toyota Star Maker right after college, and then I think pretty soon after that I released my first EP and had my first single off that go to radio and go to country music channel back then, CMC. So for me, I released my first single, I think I was just 19. So it was a while ago now, but, releasing music at a younger age is scary and risky. And I've got, a really successful career that I'm really proud of behind me that has shaped me into the artist that I am now. And I think without doing those singles when I was younger and recordings and albums, it's really taught me who I am as an artist, and it's let me really grow into the artist that I am now. And if I listen to, songs back from then, which I still get asked to play at shows, compared to my new stuff, they're worlds apart, but it's growth as an artist, and it shows that, you can evolve. And just because you released one song at one point in time doesn't mean you need to stay in that point in time.
Absolutely.
I listened to your song today. Tori. I think it's Simplest. No, the one You Better Run, Daddy's Got a Gun.
Yeah, that was the second single that I ever released.
It's good though. I think sometimes you need to revisit those things, because you would have done all that. There would have been no session guys in that, was there? Helping you out with that. That's all. Was there?
No, it's quite funny because back when I first started recording, it was way more session guys.
Right.
It's this day and age, especially since COVID, it's a lot more tracks or synths and things that to create live can be really hard. I'm in the process at the moment of getting my whole live show built and getting stems done and tracks done, and it can be really funny looking back at all I did was play live with a live band. All the parts were played. We had, a 4-piece band up on stage with you, and they played all the parts. But this day and age, you can tour with a 2-piece band and have half of the stuff on tracks, which I don't necessarily love. I love playing live, but it's just evolved so much over the last sort of couple of years in terms of how people play live now. And I really noticed that at CMC, even with the international artists like Alana Springsteen and Carter Faith and if Ashley Cook, it was them, and like a bass drum guitarist. Their piano players weren't there, fiddle players weren't there, banjo players weren't there. It's really you've been able to scale things back and just really focus on those three parts being incredible live, and then the rest is on track, really.
But it's an economic decision too. It's expensive to run a big band. That's the biggest problem.
Oh my God. Yes,
Yeah.
and I just booked flights yesterday for my band for an upcoming festival, and I think I cried after doing it.
Yeah. The reality is, like I was doing a show a couple of weeks ago with like an international, and they're like a guitar player, bass player, drummer, and a singer, and they are stellar, like utterly brilliant players. But they were using tracks, they were using tracks, and it sounded it wasn't overly. It wasn't dominating the thing, but it was just supplementing, right? It was supplementing. But then I saw this young band called Egoism not long ago, and they're even tracking the lead vocal. I'm sitting there going, "Come on, you just can't be doing that." No, that was really stinky.
That's just being lazy.
The lead singer was off doing this, and I'm still hearing it. And I'm going, "Come on, you're not fooling anybody. Come on."
Yeah. So I think Jay and I could both speak for that and just say that as singers and musicians, like, we both still play live, and our vocals, our guitars, they're all still live. When you do have tracks in a show, it really is just to add a little extra something. It's not to play the parts for everyone. If the guitarist screws up a note, you're going to hear it, like, because they're still playing that live. It's just those little, having a click track in your ears so that the whole band stays in time, and having those little extra parts that you can't take on the road with you, because you might only have a fiddle player in one song. So do you take a fiddle player, all the way to America with you to play for 3 minutes? Like, it's, making those kinds of decisions that financially they could break you. So it's a way of touring, and it's still being like the record, but also still having that live perspective that you are playing live as well.
Of course, in a perfect world, you'd love to do it, but like, who can afford that, really?
Shania Twain, that's it. Even Shania, when I saw her in Vegas last year, didn't have a bass player. Everything was on track. No bass player.
A mate of mine played with her for a long time as a bass player. So he got booted. No, it's all right. He's back here, I think.
All right,
And
so
he's a rock and roll guy.
Jay, you've had some music out since 2019, am I correct?
Oh gosh, I think I kind of did a little thing, same like Tori, when I think just after Tamworth, I went and did a trip to Nashville, and I put all my savings into making what I thought was going to be the best piece of work that I'd ever create. And I spent a lot of money on it, and don't get me wrong, it's a really cool EP to listen back to, but I had no idea what I was doing. And I just, invested in it and invested in the wrong publicity, and it just didn't really go anywhere. And it was a real learning curve for me, and it just kind of dulled a spark a little bit, and I stopped doing music for a little while and reassessed. And it wasn't until, like you said, around 2019 that I just was like, you know what, I'm going to give it another go. I had other things going on in my personal life that kind of took focus and things like that, but music's always been where I'm most passionate, and I think it's something that I'll always go back to. And so, I got back in the studio and recorded a bunch of songs, and I haven't looked back. I've got a bunch more to release, so I'm really, really excited, and I'm really proud of it. And, I'm more knowledgeable now. I've got more friends in the industry that'll be like, don't do that, or you should do this. And it's a lot more comforting now knowing that, like Tori said, it is a very, very expensive industry to be a part of. Not only just to record, but you got to pay for publicity, and you've got to do all these other additional things, and it can send somebody broke, especially if you've got a mortgage to pay and you've got 2 kids to feed. So it's one of those things where it's having just a really good support network. It goes a long way. So I'm really, really lucky.
Yeah, it's a weird industry at the moment. We always talk about this. You do all that work and you really, get the return that, people would get previously. But I guess the way it works now is you have the opportunity to get your music out there. How do you guys, you go for just singles? I noticed, I think Jay, maybe you had an EP out, or was it Tori had an EP out? So do you ever think album-wise, or you're just going to go single, single, single? The way it works now?
Well, I've only done the one EP back when I first started, and recently I've only been doing singles. It's just been I've been trying to build my portfolio and just my profile and get people to just listen to my songs. And so I've just been, putting out singles at least like once every 2 months. Just building it from there. And I think I might be doing an EP towards the end of the year or next year. So I do have plans for an album, but I think that's when I'm ready, it'll happen. When I've got the right songs.
Yeah, it's just a bigger piece of art, like we always talk about on here. And so you got to spend a bit more time on it.
That's it. 100%.
I'm always torn on that, and it's like, sometimes when people put out an album, some songs get love and some songs get lost, and it doesn't mean that they're any lesser songs. It just seems to be an awful lot of money to spend, a lot of time and effort and energy to spend, to lose the impetus on some of the work.
People's attention spans now, it's different to what it was. You could listen to an Adele record from start to finish about 3 times over, but now it's like Adele puts out an album and people be like, oh yeah, that's a cool song. Or if it goes viral on TikTok, they'll be like, I'm going to listen to that song now.
15 seconds jump.
Yeah,
20 seconds
that's all
jump.
they've got.
Yeah.
So it is, it's a lot harder for people to to be putting out albums and get them to have it be appreciated the way it should be.
Well,
it's more of a merch thing.
It's a merch.
I find now, if you've got, because vinyl is still outselling CDs. Obviously, it can't compete with digital, but
I've got a habit of buying CDs when I go see someone play, and not with any intention of ever playing them. Because everything's now streaming in MP3, they all sit in a nice little box, and I think, I supported that artist. So, it's an interesting place that we live in nowadays.
It is.
And a CD is worth so many more than a stream. Thousands upon thousands of streams for the cost of one album.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel as though, you feel a bit resentful towards mobs like Spotify for the way they remunerate artists. But unfortunately, they won. People would Metallica complained about Napster and they lost, but they were actually right.
Very much
it's
so.
A very tricky spot.
What do you think,
Tori? About Braggy?
I want to talk about Jay's a big advocate for women's health and things like that. I was talking to my daughter today about endometriosis. I wanted to call it, I called it something different before. Tell us about it, because I don't pretend to know a lot, but I think I've got a friend who's having a fight with cancer at the moment. I keep thinking to myself, how come we can put, a lander on Mars, and yet we can't find a cure for cancer? But I think it's even worse with women's health, especially with this disease. It's only since women became doctors that they've found it's a thing. Is that right? I was like, the male doctors were just like, oh, it's just period pain.
Yeah, just get over it. You'll be fine. Just take a Panadol.
Yeah. So what do you do? Do you talk about that at your gigs, or what's your?
I have, it's one of those things that I am really passionate about, because especially in this industry, it's such a full on thing. It's you go, you show up, you're expected to show up, put on a massive show. You can't show anything other than I'm here, I'm ready to party, I'm ready to put on this massive show for you. Even if you're feeling a little bit under the weather or you're feeling completely shit-house, it's just one of those things. And I've had to cancel shows sometimes. And, if you give that excuse, I've got endometriosis, so they'll be like, so? Why should that be an excuse to not do that? And you'd be crippled on the floor and in excruciating pain. But someone it's just some other ridiculous excuse that they've got that they can't do a show, it's accepted. But it's just one of those things, and I'm really glad that within this industry it's being spoken about more often, and it's the awareness is there for other people, and it's people don't have to feel so lonely or so isolated talking about it as well. So it's times are changing, and that's really good, and I'm happy to see that. It's not so taboo.
It's a hard enough industry for women as it is, let alone to have something like that.
Yeah. So Jay, you didn't think you would be able to have children, correct? And then you.
Yeah, you're right. So my husband had Hodgkin's lymphoma when he was 27. So 10 years ago now. And I didn't know at the time that I had endometriosis. It wasn't until he's 10 years remission now, by the way. I always forget to say that. He's okay. He's very much okay. But it wasn't until we we were trying to start a family for quite a few years, and just it wasn't happening for us. So we went to give IVF a go, and it wasn't until then that I found out that I had endo, and they basically told us we tried one round of IVF, and we were unsuccessful, and they were like, it's not really going to happen for you guys naturally, just with what Jamie had to go through with his chemo and radiation, and with my endometriosis and my polycystic ovaries, we were just it's just not a great combination of things. So it was a real devastating thing because, I dreamed of being a mother, and to have that kind of reality hit you, it was very devastating. And miraculously, we got our twins, and it would have been nice if we didn't have to spend $20,000 on IVF. But it's one of those things. It's a real blessing because you just never know. And like the old saying goes, what will be, and it'll happen in good time if it's meant to be. So I'm really, really fortunate. And, there's a lot of people that don't get those miracles. So,
And have girls discovered music? I noticed you got a beautiful black upright piano behind there. I'm sure they would be pounding on that sometimes.
They absolutely love music. It's to be honest, like I get tingles every time because they'll just listen to a song once and they'll know the exact melody and they'll know the words, and it's a really weird thing. I was never like that as a kid, so it's kind of like gives me the tingles a little bit because they're obsessed at the moment with the movie The Greatest Showman, and they'd never seen the movie before. I just played like the YouTube clips where they'd have just the songs playing, and they were obsessed with a couple of the songs. And I was like, oh, you're too young to understand the movie. And I was like, do you want to watch the movie? And they saw Zac Efron and they saw Zendaya, and they're like, I want to watch the movie. and the entire time, from the start, like the intro of that movie, they were just like completely mesmerized with everything. They're like, play the curtain song, and that's like the intro song where everything just happens and everything comes in, and they were just like, oh my god, this is the best thing I've ever heard. Like, just completely insane. And so every night since we've seen that movie, I've had to sing them 2 songs from the movie before bed.
That'll stay with them forever.
Can we just check? Can we just check Tori's vocals?
Hi, Tori.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yay!
Yay!
Hey, Jay, imagine if those girls become singers, Rossy, imagine like the harmonies, twins. Like
Sisters are great. Sisters sing great.
I'm really excited.
So close.
I just say to you, just be careful what you wish for, Jay, with a young kid. That's all I can say.
As long as it's not drums and it's not saxophone, I'm all right with it.
All right. So, Tori, now that we've got you back,
sorry, guys. Don't know
would you
what
like
happened.
to answer? Would you like to respond to anything Jay said?
I think I missed half of what Jay was saying.
It was all nice things. Don't worry. It was all nice
was.
things.
It was. It was all nice.
Now, both of you ladies had amazing 2024s. Jay, you were the winner at Tamworth, I believe. A golden
Top 10, yeah.
That's
Wow.
pretty cool.
Woo.
But Tori, you were on The Voice, and
I
personally, I
was.
don't. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about your experience on The Voice. That's a bit of a coup and quite pressured, I'd imagine.
Yeah, look, The Voice is a really interesting experience. I have no regrets about doing it, but I say to anyone that comes to me and says, "Oh, should I do it?" I'm like, just be prepared that they could throw anything at you, and they could put you in a duo, or they could pick you and your battle partner over everybody else, and then no one else gets a spot, and then everyone's really mad at you. Like, lots of things happen to us while we're on The Voice, and so many things that I had never even thought would be on the agenda. So I'm so grateful for my time on The Voice and everything that I learned on The Voice, and getting to spend time with Leanne Rhymes and learn from her. But it was a lot. It really was. And I think you really have to be in a really great headspace in a lot of different ways, not just knowing who you are as a musician, but also just really knowing who you are within yourself and staying true to that, because at the end of the day, you are on national television. And people are quick to criticize you when they're sitting on their couch eating their popcorn, watching you. And I think it takes a lot of balls really to do a show like a national reality television show where you are exposing so many parts of yourself, not just your voice, but you as a person. And just being a musician or being an artist on those shows is just one part of that. And like, your personality is getting judged, the way you dress is getting judged, the way you look is getting judged. And I think it's really important that that people sort of recognize that a little bit more, and it's not just a singing show.
It's a TV show about people who sing, actually.
It really is. It's a TV show about people who sing, and it's you're at the mercy of producers and networks and vocal coaches and people in wardrobe, saying, "Oh, you should wear this," and you're like, I'm like, I look like I'm wearing a potato sack. Like, can we try something different?
So they lean into your backstory. What they give you?
So I actually had a good backstory, because I had been on The Voice previously, where they had given me a pop song, and I am not a pop singer. So I went on very unsure of myself, really, and doubted what I was doing. And I didn't turn a chair, but I had a moment go viral when Keith Urban got up and sang Stupid Boy with me. So we had a viral duet, and then that was me done. I was like, yep, cool, never again. I'm good. Like, I've done The Voice, don't need to do it again. And then I got scouted to do The Voice last year, and it was basically, I was going in as a country artist, and unless I was going in as a country artist, don't call me again. My backstory was really that I was there for, redemption, and to show people what I actually do, and that I am a country artist, and I'm proud of that. And I wanted to really show Australia that was the part of me that they didn't see last time.
That's great. Yeah, it's a funny thing. It's a funny trip, isn't it?
Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's really good. It is pretty brave. It's brave.
Yeah,
it's
very
really
brave.
Very brave.
So Tori, scouted. So you were scouted by the producers, and so I'd imagine others are as well. So being scouted doesn't mean you get through, but does it?
No, not at all. It just means that, they see something in you, and you might not even get past, the audition with the producers. Like, you do a lot of rounds beforehand, before you even perform in front of the coaches. And all of those shows work like that. I know I saw a thing the other day on TikTok, and it was all the different American artists that had applied for or auditioned for American Idol and never gotten through. And someone like Lainey Wilson, who is now the biggest female name in country music, auditioned 7 times and never went through to Hollywood, or never progressed.
TV people know nothing about music.
But
God.
Being scouted for a show like that, it definitely doesn't mean that you're definitely in with a win, but it just means that you've got a bit of a better shot.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got some gremlins on the line, so I might start the wind up, boys. So any final questions that you've got for the young ladies, Tori and Jay?
So what are the upcoming shows? What's the next things you both got going on?
I've still got a run of weekends with Brad Butcher, who I was on The Voice with. So this weekend we've got Bundaberg, Gladstone, and Rockhampton. Next weekend we have Mackay, and then the weekend after we have a Sydney run. So we've got Marrickville,
We're playing
Cronulla,
in Sydney.
and so playing at the Django Bar at the Camelot Lounge in Marrickville.
Yep.
And then Cronulla, the Brass Monkey at Cronulla, and then
Brass
also
Monkey.
the Beer Shed out at Lemire. So that'll be great. And then I jump back on tour with Lee Kernaghan from May, and I've got a whole year touring with him, opening the show and playing in the band. And then Gympie Muster, as well as Country Fest, a few other festivals as well. So yeah, I'll speak to you guys again in December when I have my life back.
That'd be awesome. Is there somewhere, will you be performing the song Trouble together on stage?
Yes, we will actually. Jay is coming along with me to Country Fest, which is a festival in North Queensland in June. So I rang Jay up a couple of months back and I was like, hey, I have an idea. I was like, I really want to sing Trouble with you at a big festival and I want it to be fun. And
Yeah, so where are you performing, Jay?
Her count was going for too long.
Girls will be great on stage together.
She's going to be like, I don't know what happened. Oh, poor Tor. But it's going to be fun. I'm really excited to play Trouble up at Country Fest. I've never played Country Fest before, and Tori's the only female on the lineup, so it's going to be really cool us two, getting up on stage and singing this, real girl anthem sort of song, and just having a bit of fun with it. And it packs out at that festival, so it's going to be a really cool representation of a really cool song. And so it's I'm really excited. And that's I think she said it was in June. I don't have to double check.
I think it's the 28th of June. So if that's the Country Fest at Bloomsbury,
that's it. Yeah. No, it's very exciting.
Awesome.
She's a very busy girl.
And are you getting to Tamworth in January?
I will be there. I'm very. Are you guys going to be there?
No, we're there in spirit. So every guest that we have, and last year there's a real backstory to this. So last year we've always asked our country music guests as a bit of a, give us a shout out to the boys on the red carpets on Golden Guitars Night.
And quid pro quo, so to speak.
Yeah, all they've got to say is shout out to the boys, and no one's ever going to know who the boys are. So, and for us, it means something. So we got our very first shout out to the boys last year with Brittany Elise.
I did see that. I saw that.
That was
for us.
That
was for Curly, really, wasn't it, Braggy? It was for Curly.
Because what would be really cool is if there was like 5 artists, like one after the other that went on there, went shout out to the boys. Then someone's going to go, who the fuck are the boys? So honestly, us three have to get to. We've done so many country artists. We have to get to Tamworth.
Yeah, we do have to get there. So Jay, when you're on the red carpet, so it's not a matter of if. You need to write this in your diary so that it pops up just as you're about to walk. I've got to say, shout out to the boys.
Done. I'll make sure it's not forgotten.
Yeah, and if you could share that with Tori as well, that would be awesome, right? So, hey, there's a requirement. We should, whenever Jules reaches out to us, we should always say to her, now, part of this payment is for the artist to say shout out to the boys on the red carpet at the Golden Guitars. Tori, I don't know what happened there, but we lost you.
I'm sorry, guys. I think tomorrow I'm going to Apple to buy some new technology.
Fine. It's fine.
What I'd say, Curly, is maybe we should put together a rider.
Yeah, okay. So what does that look like, Rossy?
Don't you worry, I can draft one of them up for you in no time.
Can you draft that up? So, because, Tori, we're just saying that whenever we have country music artists, we always ask one simple request, and that is when you're on the red carpet at the Golden Guitar Awards in Tamworth in January, all we want to hear is a shout out to the boys. So we got our first one last year with Brittany Elise, and she's lovely, and
She's our
that
favourite
just
now.
yeah.
You don't have to
I see
mention
how
our
it
name.
is.
You just have to
I
say. You
see
just
how
have to
it
say.
is.
Shout out to the boys. That's all.
You don't even have to say Curly, Braggy, Rossy. It's just a
or
quick shout out to
Unfiltered.
the boys.
Easy
We
done.
prefer it if you didn't actually.
Done deal.
Awesome.
Done.
It's
We
been
can do that.
awesome.
Yeah,
So
fantastic.
it has been amazing speaking with you two ladies. Very solid with Jay, intermittently with Tori. So, but that's
right.
what technology does. So, I will have your link tree links in the show notes. So if so everyone who's been listening, tuning in, please check the back catalogues out. I have to say, but ladies, you didn't get the Katrina Burgoyne treatment. Braggy dug back into a song she wrote when she was 13 called, what was it
Ouch.
called? Dumped?
I can't remember.
Yeah,
I
was
like to go-
hilarious.
I listen to. I try and listen to everything. So because I like.
We started asking her about the bloke, didn't we?
I even know that song because I saw Katrina when I would have been about 17, and I saw Katrina sing it in Star Maker, and it was like, "You're so dumb."
That's it.
I know the song you're talking about.
Don't forget your old stuff, girl. You got to go dig back into the old stuff.
Yeah,
That's when you just. I mean, you still are, but you know.
You see the evolution. And Tori, we didn't even get a chance to speak about your bodybuilding and your health and fitness journey, but we will have to get you both back on, especially around January, so we can remind
Just to remind you.
Just a gentle push.
Just a subtle hint.
Oh, it's been good.
Yeah, awesome. It's been wonderful speaking tonight. It's been amazing. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. Of course, check out the links in the show notes and go follow Tori and Jay wherever you are. Get on to Trouble. It is a lot of fun. It is a song that just makes you smile. And you can almost hear the entrance music when these two ladies walk into Cowboy. Here comes trouble. And that's what the song's all about. So until next time, everyone, have a great week. And we will see you all next week.